Hello there, this is Nia Shanks from Lift Like a Girl, and here with a great guest today for another episode of Lift Like a Girl TV. And we're going to talk about something which she actually approached me about this topic, so I'm super excited about it because it's something I never even thought about, but I think it's really important that we discuss. So I'm super excited to have with me today Miss Caroline Gick. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
And you have some just some great stuff, like I said, that you brought to my attention. And when I saw this, it's like, holy crap, this is such a great and important topic. And I'm super excited that you brought it to my attention. So thank you for taking the initiative to do that. Really excited.
You're really very welcome. You know, it's just something that's been on my mind for a couple years, and it's a topic that we don't talk about all that much, and something that I think we all experience in one way or another, all of us who start lifting and training. So I think a lot of your viewers will kind of appreciate what we're going to talk about today. So.
And I guess we should reveal what that is. It's a mystery.
I know, right?
But what Caroline wanted to discuss with y'all is basically, you know, how once you start strength training for a period of time, your body starts changing shape. You get curves and all these great things start to happen, but the somewhat potential downside to that is clothes you had don't fit the way you want them to, and then how should you go about finding clothes that, you know, that are flattering to your new shape, that fit correctly? So that's what we're going to talk about. So we're just going to dive right in. So Caroline, would you please discuss, you know, kind of what women can expect to happen once they start strength training seriously for an extended period of time?
Absolutely. You know, and I do want to start by saying this topic is one of those things that's been something I've been working with for a couple of years now. And sometimes it feels weird to bring it out because, you know, we're talking about style, we're talking about clothes, we're talking about fashion in a world that's not necessarily focused on that. And so I'm like, oh, is this silly? Is this shallow? I'm feeling strange about this, but do I want to talk about it? Is it something that that other people would appreciate or you know, going through? And what I realized, I started strength training about 4 years ago, and I came from a background where I was pretty inactive for many, many years. Then I started running in my mid-30s and was an endurance runner for about 4 or 5 years. Thankfully, at that point, I found strength training, and my body, I mean, within a matter of months, you know how you start to lean out and build muscle in places that you didn't realize you had muscle. You know, your shoulders get bigger and broader, your arms get bigger, your back gets wider, your waist may go down depending on, you know, what you're doing or where you are. Your booty gets bigger, all those squats, your legs, your hamstrings, your quads, even your calves can get bigger. And as all of that happens, you're feeling awesome about yourself. I mean, it's just you're feeling so strong and so pleased with yourself. And then you go from the gym to your closet and you try to put on a blouse to go to work. And you feel like you're all shoved in it because it's just too small and it's not fitting in those particular areas. I mean, you start to develop, like you said, curves in places that you didn't know were curves. You know, there could be curves. And the irony is, while you're feeling so fantastic about yourself and really doing great things to improve your body, your self-image, your health, you have this flip side of not feeling so great about yourself. Because if what you're putting on your body or trying to put on your body doesn't fit, it kind of shows in how you present yourself and how you feel about yourself all day.
Yeah, I think and I mean, like I said, I have that problem too. I mean, it is so hard for me to find shirts that fit me in the shoulders without being big and baggy in the waist. And I only have, I think, 2 dressy shirts that actually fit me correctly, and they were so tough to find. And when I found them, I was like, yes, I finally found them.
I want them in every color.
You like do a dance in the dressing room, like, yeah, it fits, you know? I mean, because here without getting all boxy there, and I can actually do this motion with my arms without feeling like I'm about to, what was that movie, you know, Fat Man in Little Coat? You know what?
Oh my God.
I forget, the guy from Saturday Night Live, but I always feel like I'm about to, like, explode out of those shirts.
I have sweaters that I've ripped and shirts that I've ripped in the biceps, you know, and I'm like, I'm not that big, you know, it's not like I'm huge, but they're just, the thing is they're just not created for people that have bodies like ours, that have developed proportions like ours. And it's frustrating because, I get a large or an extra large to fit my shoulders. And this took me a while to figure out. It's like first your body starts changing, you go into your closet and nothing in your closet fits anymore. You're like, okay, this is frustrating, but I'll just go buy more clothes. I'll buy things to replace. And then you go to the store and you're like, this isn't working. It's like you try to grab the blouses, you try to grab the jackets, the pants, in what you think might be your new size. And like you said, you have to get something big to fit your shoulders. That's kind of where it all starts. And it's like a 10. And I have a couple blouses that I've had tailored, I bring in to get custom, but I can't afford to do that with every blouse I have. It's just inconvenient. And so I totally get the happy dance when you find the thing that works. The other side is like you're standing in the dressing room and you're going, wait, now I feel bulky and bad and kind of down. My self-esteem is going down, whereas, I'm in the gym, I'm lifting, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling healthy, and it's just this up and down that's so frustrating. And, I have to say, when I first started, I did not have a lot of friends who also work out. I was kind of new in the field, and so I didn't have a lot of friends who were kind of in the same place as me. And in the gym, I kind of did my own thing. So I didn't have a lot of people to talk to about this, and I felt like I was kind of alone in it. Didn't realize it was something that other people experienced. So over the course of a couple of years, I started seeing people like on Facebook and other social media complaining about it. Oh my God, I'm in the dressing room, I can't find anything to wear. Nothing is fitting. And that's when it kind of connected for me that this is a bigger issue, and it's not something that we hear talked about a lot. It's like maybe on Facebook here and there, or with your friends in the gym, you'll mention it, but it's not one of those things that people talk about, like as you get into strength training and changing your body, here's some of the things that are going to come up and to pay attention to, ways to get around it, or just things to think about. So you're not getting down on yourself. That's the thing that gets me, is while I'm doing something so good for myself, I'm also getting down on myself.
Well, then from there, okay, so, and like you said, this is, and the funny thing to me is, like I said, it's not as if a lot of the women, it's not like we're getting that big. I mean, we're just kind of, losing some fat and putting some muscle in some places. You're like, I'm not big. Why am I not able to find clothes that fit? So let's now transition into some of your tips and advice that you have for women when it comes to, as you said, reviewing and working with your current wardrobe. What can women do to start getting that confidence in their clothes that they currently have?
So the one thing, my top suggestion, and I'll admit that it took me years and years to actually go through and do this, is to go through your wardrobe. If it doesn't fit right now, get rid of it. And that's a tough thing, because I know a lot of us, we either go on season, off season, or we have this idea of a shape or a place that we want to be that we're not quite yet, or that we used to be at that, oh, I want to get back there. And so we hold on to things that don't fit in the hopes that one day they will. Or because, I'll be a couple months ago, I got rid of, I think, every pair of pants I owned, because nothing worked. And I held on to them for months and months and months because I had nothing else, and I didn't want to go spend a lot of money. But every time I put a pair on, it felt awful. And if you walk out of the house, if you spend your days in clothes that don't fit, just feeling constricted or big and baggy, whatever it is, it just starts to wear down on you. So my first suggestion is to go through your wardrobe. If it doesn't fit now, get rid of it. And from there, I would even say, instead of just giving them away, you can certainly do that, donate them. Also look for a secondhand shop in your town. There are lots of great secondhand shops, Crossroads Trading, Buffalo Exchange, all over the country. And go for credit or cash. And then you can find a pair of whatever it is that actually does fit, or try to find something to replace with. So you're not just getting rid of without bringing something new in. The other thing I always say is, when you're shopping or when you're going through your closet, if you have things, like I said, we're starting with the shoulders, kind of is where I come from. in looking for dresses or blouses, that kind of thing. If you have something that's bigger and baggier, go for a belt. And I had to learn this. I mean, I'm not a belt person. It always feels weird to me to put something around my waist. But if you belt something, it'll bring in your waist, and you'll feel a little more like you have a shape rather than you're just swimming in your big dress or your big blouse. So try to go for that, and look for ways to put things together differently. You know, whether it's a different shirt with a different pants. After you've cleaned out your closet, of all the things that don't fit, just start to pair things together differently. Or, you know, can I put a belt around this particular sweater or this jacket? There are a lot of different things you can do that you may not have thought of before. You can dress up t-shirts, like say you do work in a place where you have to be somewhat more professional. You can, if you have your nice t-shirts, throw a scarf on with it to boost it up. The challenge is it's really difficult to take what's in your closet and make it already fit unless you go get it tailored, which you can certainly do. So it's always trying to find like weird new ways to put things together and make it work for you, whether it's tying things or belting it, or putting a jacket over if you can find one that fits, pulling out old sweaters that might be a little bigger that you can belt, that kind of thing. But I do want to go back and just get rid of the things that don't fit, because it just keeps you kind of held back and in that kind of negative space. And you need to kind of open and clear space for the new stuff to come in too.
And I like that. So I think that belting suggestion is really cool, because the great thing about strength training is that I kind of call it kind of an illusion effect, whereas when you start strength training, you get some curves in your shoulders and your lats, and then your glutes, and sometimes, if you put some muscle on your legs and stuff. The great thing about that is it actually makes your waist even appear that much smaller. And that's the thing about that belt trick that you said. It's going to really accentuate those curves that you built. And like I said, you put that on and be like, heck yeah, look, look at those rocky curves. That's
exactly.
That's awesome. I love that. I think that's cool.
It is. And things that, like, if you've got skirts if you're a skirt wearer, some people are, some people aren't. Wear a full skirt and belt something. So again, you have that somewhat of an illusion, but you have that whole hourglass look, and it kind of really does bring it all together. And so one part of your body is not sticking out any more than another. You're not looking and saying, oh my God, she's got these huge shoulders, but everything kind of works together.
Exactly. That's awesome. All right. So you gave us some tips for how to work with your current wardrobe. What advice do you have? Say if a woman has to get rid of a ton of her clothes. If a lot of them just are not fitting, and she just looks in her closet like, holy crap, I have nothing left.
I got nothing.
It's shopping time. So what would you say? What are some tips and advice for women who are now ready to go out and start looking for clothes to fit their new body? And what to avoid?
Yeah, and to avoid. One of the things that I would say is don't stress out over trends. I mean, the trends, when you go shopping, the first thing you're going to see is whatever it is that's the current trend of the season. And sometimes that may work for you in your shape. Other times that may not. I've tried those silly little baby doll dresses so many times, and I always think they're going to work. And then I get home and I go, this looks terrible. What am I thinking? But I've kind of fallen prey to that. Oh, I want to be cute and it's summer, and it doesn't work. My legs are too thick. They always cut in the wrong places and they just don't look or feel good. But so don't stress about the trends. Dig deeper than like that first row of clothing when you walk in the store to see what might work for you. Try lots of things, and if you find a trend that works, kind of like what you were talking about with the blouse before, if you find something that works for you, buy bunches of it. Don't worry about, am I going to be able to wear this, next season or whatever it is. If it works for you, the whole thing is if you feel good in what you're wearing, it doesn't really matter what it is. You exude a confidence, you exude a feeling of, a way of feeling good about yourself. That's what people notice, as opposed to, wasn't that from 2 years ago, or whatever the case may be. So avoid the trends, or don't stress about them, but use them to your advantage. Like right now, there are a lot of like culottes or like wider leg pants that are really cute that work for me, work for my body because they're low waisted, so I don't get that whole, you know, hip and waist gap. You know, that thing we all get right there because our glutes are a lot bigger than our waists are. They hang lower on the hips, so that's great, and they're wider legs, so they're super comfortable as opposed to having your quads like bursting at the seams. I'll buy a bunch of those right now so that I can wear them however long because they work for me. You can also try the secondhand shops for buying, not just for selling your old clothes that you're getting rid of, but for looking for other things so you're not just dependent on what's in the store, what's trendy right now if it's not working for you. You can go to a secondhand shop and find things that are on the shelf there that won't be on the shelf in the regular stores. So that'll gives you more options of things to look for that might actually work for your body. It's okay to invest in items. If you find something that really works for you, it's okay to spend the money and bring in as much as you can, or just invest in a good blouse. It makes all the difference in the world. But it's also okay to go inexpensive. I have so many things from like Target and H&M because, okay, this works for me right now. And maybe I will be changing, maybe I won't be changing, but I'm just going to grab this and it's okay. So it's okay to go, on either side of the spectrum. And don't be afraid to just, go in and pick up things like that. If you're looking for things that are, a good thing to look for are things that are less constrictive. My favorite thing are wrap dresses. And the reason is there's not already like a preset structure of where your shoulders should be and where your waist should be. So you get something that works for up here, and as you wrap it and tie it, it follows your body. And they're usually made of fabrics that are don't have a lot of seams. They're just, they kind of just hug and drape the body. So they are incredibly flattering and super easy. That's the other thing. I don't like to spend a lot of time putting my clothes together in the morning. Super, super easy. A wrap skirt, things like that. Things that you kind of have the ability to determine kind of the waist, that those are really, really helpful, and they look fantastic and they feel great. You can see your curves, but a lot of them are styled so they look professional. They're appropriate for work or they're appropriate for after work, that kind of thing. So that's one of the things I would say there. And this whole thing, when I think of a lot of strength training and I think of a lot of, getting your body in a particular shape, so much of us get stuck on numbers, whether it's the number on the scale or the number, how much we're lifting, the size we're wearing. It's all these numbers that are, we're doing measurements and we're counting macros and all of this. And when it comes to finding clothes, you really can't stress about the size you're wearing. Because it seems like every store has a different size range. It's like I'm a 2 in Banana Republic and a 10 over here. It's like, that makes no sense to me at all. But it plays with your mind sometimes. You're like, wait a minute, how am I a size 12, But you just have to, as with a lot of things with what we do, you step on the scale, you're doing all of this, you just have to let the numbers go and go with what looks and feels right. Kind of like looking in the mirror for your, kind of self-assessment. Where am I with what I'm doing as far as, body weight and composition? Looking in the mirror is always kind of the best indicator for me, or taking progress photos. And same with this. How do I feel in this? How do I look in this? That's what you want to gauge on, as opposed to the sizes that you're shopping for.
I love that. That's great. And we're going to let's round this out. I wanted you to share some ways that you said that people can use their personal style to overcome, maybe fit issues, as you were talking about, and how to actually go about wearing your confidence.
I was thinking about that this morning as I dress in a lot of black, and people always tell me, wear more color, or wear more accessories, or kind of do all of these things. And for me, just very simple black clothes seems to be what I tend to go for a lot. And as I was getting dressed for this morning. I'm like, tried on, okay, I'll wear this blouse, I'll wear this, I'll wear that. And I'm like, my black tank top is what I want to wear. That's what I feel most comfortable in right now, today, this morning, and what I feel most confident in. So that's what I'm going to wear, because that's how I'm going to present my best. And your own personal style might be that you like to wear dresses a lot. So wear dresses. You like to wear pants. It could go back and forth, but the biggest thing is just make sure that everything in your closet, I heard this advice one day, and I just thought it was brilliant. And it kind of goes back to that clean your closet thing. Make sure that everything in your closet is something that you love to wear and know you look and feel good in. So every day you go into your closet and choose something, you don't really have to stress about, oh, is this going to be okay? Is this going to work? Because everything in there is something that you feel good in. And it's kind of that whole trend thing too. It's like, if whatever is popular works for you, fantastic. But wear it for years. I don't care if you wear baby doll dresses, 10 years into the future. If that's what you look and feel good in, that's what's going to translate, not the actual item that's on your body. It's how you present yourself, how you kind of show yourself to the world, the way you stand, shoulders back, arm extended, feeling good about yourself. That's what's going to work best out in the real world. And don't be so concerned about, I should be wearing this or I should be wearing that. A lot of it depends on kind of your job, or if you have a certain way that you have to dress, but find what works for you within that. Like for me, I don't like to tuck things in. Never have liked to tuck things in. It's just something I don't like to do. And I feel so awkward whenever I do, whether it's in pants. So, my personal style is a little bit, I'll belt it, or I will put a jacket over it that dresses it up, rather than trying to fit myself into what people expect it to look like. I make it look professional, but in a different way. And that feels much better to me, because if anytime I try to walk around in something that's not right for me, I just feel awkward. And that's how you present yourself. And so just kind of trust yourself. If it's basic, it's basic. If it's flamboyant, it's flamboyant, but just have fun with it.
I love that. I think like what you said, that is so important. You're better off wearing something that you're much more confident in and comfortable in than trying to force yourself into the latest trend or whatever. Because like you said, that's going to come through. If you're walking around in 8 hours in something that you're like, oh, well, maybe this is a trend, but I don't feel comfortable in it, people are going to notice that, and you're better off wearing your personal style and just letting that confidence come through. I think that's awesome. All right, Caroline, I got to ask you, you have essentially, kind of created your own solution to these kind of fit girl problems. So will you please tell us what it is you're doing about this?
Absolutely, I'd love to. So I went through this whole thing for the past few years as I started to strength train, and I realized that, okay, I can get workout clothes, I can get casual clothes that work for me, but my job at the time required me to wear more professional clothing. And went out shopping and realized nobody makes clothes, real clothes. I call it real clothes, meaning like blouses, pants, jackets, things like that, for women with athletic physiques. All of the size charts start with, what's your bust, your waist, and your hips. And I'm always like, what about my shoulders? That's what I need to worry about, is my shoulders. Nobody was doing this. So I decided to start my own clothing line, and start a clothing line for those of us that do have really fit bodies. So I'm starting a clothing line called Quarter Turn Clothing, and we're going to be creating blouses, jackets, pants that are designed specifically based on the proportions of the athletic female. So, broader shoulders, room for your muscular arms. When we get to pants, the whole booty, quad, calf thing. So we'll be designing specifically based on those proportions, choosing fabrics that have a little stretch to it, but giving women the opportunity to actually have a line that's for them. So the chances that, you'll be able to find something that fits your shoulders and your waist is going to be far, far greater than if you just, go into Banana Republic or The Gap and try to find something. So, so that's what we're starting, or that's what I'm starting, and I'm really, really, really excited. It's just coming up. We're going to start with the first product is going to be a blouse, and then we're going to grow from there based on feedback from women. Because it's the first of its kind that I know of, I didn't want to just create an entire line and throw it out there. I really want to hear from people, what's working for you? What would you like to see next? Are there any changes that need to be made? What are some of the specific things that you want to address? So I'm really excited. Yeah.
That's great. And when is that first blouse going to debut?
In the fall, probably September 2014. So
awesome. So where can people go to get more information about you and about Quarter Turn Clothing? Where's the best place for them to go?
The website, quarterturnclothing.com. And so you can sign up there just to get more information about the company and the blouse when it comes out. I also have a blog on there, and that's where I talk about a lot of these issues with fit and some, style advice, or just, kind of talking back and forth. You can contact me through there, and I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those. All the connections are on the website, so you can make it easily through there.
That's wonderful. And I'm just curious, where did the term quarter turn clothing come from?
So quarter turns, my background when I started strength training is I got into figure competing. And so when you're on stage competing in figure and in some of the bodybuilding divisions, quarter turns are how you move from one pose to another when you're displaying your physique for the judges. And so you hear over and over again, quarter turn to the right, quarter turn to the right. And it's how you move with grace and ease and display your physique in a way that just really highlights all the benefits. So that's where it came from. It took me a while to kind of come up with the right name, and just it hit me one day. So.
I think that's awesome. That is so cool. I'm glad. I didn't know. I've never done physique or figure. I was like, there's got to be something to that name.
Yeah, and it's, the women who do compete will get it right away, and those who don't, it's like, what does that mean? I'm curious. So
it's cool. The story is awesome. I love that. I love names that have a deeper meaning behind them. So I think that's just
absolutely. So.
Well, Caroline, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to checking out the Quarter Turn clothing line. And we appreciate all the tips you had to share, so thank you so very much.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on Look Like a Girl. It makes me so happy.
Thank you.